your October 2023 soul story. If you have a sun rising or your moon is in the sign, you might find that this resonates for the month ahead. I appreciate you taking the time to join me and tune into the channel. It's Romy here. We're going to open up this month with the energy of the Three of Pentacles. Be prepared to be consistently surprised this month. Even though progress at times does feel a little bit disjointed, it actually ends up delivering really marked, measurable, significant movement for you. And it will kind of make perfect sense as you arrive at the end of the month. I think of late, many of the experiences that you've navigated have made you reevaluate, perhaps in quite a profound way, your life. And this reset energy that we are still working our way through, this transitionary time, has brought about a determination for you to bring more meaning and substance to the things that you're doing and where you're investing your energy. And you may feel an incredible amount of inspiration and drive through the month of October to really get ahead and to forge forwards with something. October does have an intensity about it, perhaps the most intense astrologically of the year thus far, but at the same time, it's generating an awful lot of power, and that kind of electric feel, that wild card energy, means that it can be harnessed and leveraged in really significant ways. And the three suggests me that you are kind of going to work with that and you're finding ways to put that energy to good use. You're channeling it. You will feel a sense of almost having safe passage, regardless of how crazy or disjointed things may feel around you. You've certainly got a feeling of being more capable and ready to face things. And remember, even when you feel like you're still seeking or looking for closure in order to move on, closure happens when you actually do move on and take that initial step. And I think that lessons learned, says the Hierophant, are incredibly important. You know, hindsight's a great thing, but we can't discount the way that we arrive at the places that we do, because that's the very thing that helps to shape us. And, you know, through the early part of October, we're out of the shadow of both Mercury and Venus. And so information and clarity, you know, towards situations now starts to kind of come flooding back in. And there's quite a methodical process that I kind of see you undertaking in that first part of the month. You know, realizing a lot needs to get done. In fact, I think you've got a lot on your plate. So remember to work to your energy through October and don't overgive. Less is more. I want to say to you that you don't need to give as much as what people are asking you for. I feel like they're chancing it a little bit with you this month, okay? So you've learned some lessons perhaps, and you have a measure and a read on certain people, and you know why they're perhaps like pushing the boundaries a little bit more. But this is definitely an experience where in October you set the vibe. You set the tone. Now on the 8th of the month, Venus is finally going to shift out of your sign. So we've been working through this prolonged cycle and it's helped you in many ways, but we've also had a lot of challenges through that retrograde. As we shift now into Virgo, the love language changes. It's not about just telling them how we feel, it's about showing them. And the Hierophant also says it's about what we've learned through the experience and ensuring that the change and the adjustment then takes place. But that Hierophant also tells me you're looking for commitment. And as I said, there's a sense of you devoting to things in a more significant, profound way. For the first time perhaps, because maybe you've just got a little bit more space or you feel a little bit more clear thinking. On the same day that Venus moves into Virgo, we have quite an aggressive conversation cosmically between Pluto and Mars, and that's charged, you know, and there's this feeling of wanting to break free. And it kind of almost has this feeling of a showdown. In fact, that's sort of an energy that plays out throughout October. So be prepared for that, especially when there's a strong emphasis through October in our relationships, through Libra season, and, particularly because we will be welcoming this new moon solar eclipse in the sign. This emphasis around looking at the demands that exist within the conscious connections that we have, the demands that we're putting on ourselves, on others, or that are being levied towards us, but also illuminating the desires, to what degree they're being met. And, this then is a whole journey that we take that, initiated back in spring of 23, Northern Hemisphere, and continues all the way through to spring of 25. So you now need to make the moves in terms of what you will no longer address as acceptable, to start releasing things, to start working on where codependent situations are suppressing or holding you back. And I think there is like a phrase that keeps coming through for you for October that's like, this is happening. Okay, so I feel like this is what you're doing. Like, you're having these conversations, and it's a phrase I hear you saying, and there's a little bit of trepidation with that, but there's also like a curious anticipation that I need you to embrace. Now, the Two of Cups is bringing you together, to come onto the same page with somebody. And perhaps that's been a challenge of late, and we've been through a lot to be able to even arrive at this moment. But I think that you have like an incredibly important conversation happening in October, and you're preparing for it. This is like you almost with the due diligence and all of the information, and becoming informed and ready for what it is that you need to say and how you want to express yourself. And this important conversation is deeply transformative to what happens next. So, if there is somebody specific, or there's an awareness of what you're looking to progress or move forward, know that this is a month that it happens, but also be prepared for these surprises and perhaps even a few cosmic detours with these eclipse energies coming in a little disruptively. A little disruptively. So the 14th is when that lands at 21 degrees of Libra. And, I have a feeling that this conversation has either already taken place, or then is initiated or agreed upon for the date that will happen. Magician I really like for you, because I think in regards to this, it again is you setting the tone, and it's also you using everything that you have. And remember, your body is responding, and sometimes in challenging ways, but because it's fighting for you, not against you. It's trying to get your attention and your focus. So if through October there are things going on from a physical perspective, take heed and pay attention, because if we can kind of address those, we're also going to help to bring in more regulation, which is going to be hugely important when you come into the engagement of conversations with others. We want to come in with a balanced, grounded outlook, and we want to feel that we do have, and you will, this sort of sense of safe passage, regardless of how kind of chaotic things feel. Now, I have a sense of interruption happening. Interruption comes at some level with regards to something. It feels in flow, it feels like it's moving, it feels like everything is kind of on board, what you'd expected and anticipated. All of a sudden, the interruption occurs. I think we need to be open, because what it reveals also helps like a kind of change to happen, a shape-shifting moment. And again, the Magician brings in a tenacity for you. It brings in an opportunity to kind of work alchemically and say, all right, I need to make a quick decision here, and a turn, and a reevaluation of something. And you'll feel capable, and you'll feel strong enough and empowered enough, enabled, in order to do that. And I think that's incredibly important. The Magician also reminds you, sell yourself, speak your heart, say, what is most burning in your mind. What is it that you have to share? Like anything that is of significance and importance to you through the month of October, we don't want you sitting on it, because it's not harnessing and leveraging the energy in that way. This is a time for you to allow the experiences that you've had to reshape and reevaluate, and then start to take those meaningful actions towards something. The more you sell it, as in selling yourself, the more things will naturally open up for you. And I think you should start to see some harvest and some reward and some results coming through as well that may have felt like they've been held back for a while. Again, this is where I get the "this is happening" sort of experience. Emperor just reminds us that the strategy that we need to deploy this month is not just about, what's going to help me in the here and now. We have to have a little bit of a awareness of what's going to happen down the line. So there's a sort of resourcefulness, if you like, and a kind of maybe protection of resources, or a sort of mindfulness around what you need to take care of, especially in regards to what will support you, what will help you to feel more secure. But you're also in a very strong, empowered position here. Again, you're setting the vibe, you're setting the tone. We might come up against, because of the nature of October, some power plays that you need to navigate and manage. Okay? And remember, as we come out of Libra season and we move into more Scorpio energy, Mercury shifts in the sign on the 21st, 23rd, the sun comes into the sign. We're working with a fourth house for you there, which is very much the requirement to have to inner parent ourselves, and be very aware of that emotional experience that we're having and how perhaps we're projecting because of, core experiences or wounds that we've had. So what we see with the Emperor is a sort of call to arms for you a little bit, and along with the Magician reminding you more to the point of who you are, of, what you are capable of. And I do feel you will have a lot on your plate, and I do think there'll be an incredible amount of distractions, and I do think that it will feel disjointed. But you're showing me quite a grounded, determined, future forward outlook. And I think that will also help significantly in regards to sort of allowing for some of the fate and the synchronicity that's likely to show up through the course of October. There are months that we have to ask questions, and there are months that deliver us answers, and Destiny's delivering answers this month. Big news, big events, hellos, goodbyes, warp speed manifestations, all of these things happening as we, traverse through eclipse season. So High Priestess coming up. It's so interesting this month, there's just been such an over-dominance in all the soul stories of major arcanas repeatedly, no matter how much I'm shuffling. So, what we see is that Destiny is really engaged in terms of, the life lessons that we're experiencing at the moment. And this kind of brings us to what is going to be an incredibly potent and powerful eclipse in Taurus on the 28th, coming in at 5 degrees, because this is the culmination. This is the closing chapter of a soul story that we've worked with this axis since November 21. So High Priestess, how this has affected you and triggered you, where it's hit you. And it's not been easy. And, it's probably rumbled around in that sense of your stability and security, your sense of value. But we have to now bring resolution and closure to the story here. We have to have learnt the lessons. But this lunar eclipse arrives with hard aspects to Mercury, Mars, and Jupiter, bringing a little bit more drama, a little bit more exaggerated energy, so things can kind of blow up or get taken out of context and all of a sudden sort of spread like wildfire a little bit. And so we're having to sort of navigate the ability to stay grounded and in control, knowing what we know, trusting in, what's coming next for us, but also being challenged and triggered in multiple directions. And so it does feel a little intense, But it isn't new news, it's old news. It's something that you've already been acutely aware of. You've already done work on, you've already grown and evolved from. And this is just now almost like the final promise of what you're letting go. Now we do have a more level-headed intervention, if you like, from Saturn with that lunar eclipse that's going to help you to turn something around. So regardless of what lands or what arrives or what you might experience in some of the kind of combustible forces around that particular eclipse, it will offer you the opportunity to kind of make good and to deliver on what you need to in order for your soul growth to kind of take you to the new cycle and the new chapter. And if that's, still feeling a little unclear and uncertain for you, when you arrive at the end of the month, remember we're working with the thinning of the veil this month. We've got Samhain and Halloween on the 31st. We also have Venus trining Uranus. So a bit of an unexpected blessing, and again another surprise and twist to the storyline coming through just as we culminate October. And again, that High Priestess tells me, like, you'll know the right time of when to hold on to something and when to express and to share it. But trusting in your higher self and the information that's flowing to you, especially from loved ones through the course of this month, you will find those signs from spirit feel stronger, more potent, more meaningful, more personal, and your ability to be able to connect beyond the veil is incredibly heightened. But just do remember to keep yourself really cleansed and cleared and grounded, and cutting cords where necessary, so you're not picking up energies that are a little less desirable. But what we see for you as we come towards that end of the month is a sort of recognition of what you've invested through October. And as you've sort of faced head into the storm, or you've ridden that kind of cosmic wave, and it's felt a little wild at times, you're also going to be incredibly proud of your achievement and of the progress that you see you've made in some of the most important areas of your life. And especially regarding this, incredible kind of conversation that I see being like a bit of a game changer for you in many, many ways. And actually what that High Priestess tells me in regards to that is that you had a belief that this was what was meant to be. You had a belief, you had a knowing, you had that kind of, there's no evidence, but I've got that gut. And this is the sort of validation, if you like, from the universe. But just know in that, in that last mile, or in that kind of culmination point to arrive at that, there's still a few more things that are going to surprise you and perhaps, shake you up a bit before we get to that moment. But ultimately, we close out in an experience where you're ready and you are like, okay, this is definitely happening. If you're new to the channel, Leo, the last 3 cards we cover in the extended version of my reading, so you can find the link for that in the comment and description box underneath. We talk for 30 minutes or so. We explored more deeply into this month, and we also look at a personal question and a relationship card. Okay, so I'm just going to clarify the main spread, just see some of the messages that we might be linking into for that extended. King of Cups, 5 of Pentacles coming through here. All the decks that I use are listed below for your reference. Another High Priestess, another 2 of Cups, so some nice synergy coming in here. The Moon. So this month, my soul guided meditations, we have an eclipse activation, which will be super helpful to navigate both the Libra and the Taurus eclipses. And I also have a beautiful journey to connect with your spirit guides, either strengthen or for the first time feel their energy and the messages that they have for you to support you through October. You can find these again in the link and comment section underneath. Empress, 10 of Pentacles. There's just this really sort of capable, competent energy coming through. And this is what I mean, if you get on the right side of this energy, you can harness it and leverage it and direct it. 6 of Wands, lovely. Queen of Wands. I like these cards for you, Leo. You might have been waiting to try something and kind of not sure if it's for you. It's like hard to see yourself. maybe other people have been like, no, that's not your thing. But, it's been burning away in the background. But this is a month of like experimentation for you as well, on multiple levels. I think as you consider all the options, like it's a safe time to just kind of put yourself out there a little bit. Okay, we're going to look at some oracle cards. Just to clarify here, this is my own deck, Life Soul Vision. You will find more details over on my website. If you enjoy my work and it's resonating for you, please check out this sacred title along with Moon Musings, my book, which you will find on Amazon. We have the Queen of Air, Light Language. We have Solstice celestial stillness. We have the solar plexus energy, stand in your light. We have enlightened in the exhale. We have the gathering. And we have Earth Star energy coming through for you. Just remember, you know, this is not a month where doing something because you think you should is going to give you the rich experience that you're seeking, you know, because when we feel like we ought to or should do something, it usually comes from a place of responsibility, from guilt, from fear, from pain. I want you to do it because of the love of it, because the passion, because of the sense of urgency and the anticipation and the curiosity. Wild Rose Fairy we have coming through with love. Beautiful. Okay, and finally, we have the Thinking Woman coming through here as well. So we'll cover these messages in the extended reading. Thanks for joining me. Have a really beautiful month of October. Enjoy the beautiful thinning of the veil, Samhain, Halloween if you celebrate. And I will see you again next time, Leo. Bye for now.